Having a display that can do both gaming and content creation is one thing I've always looked for in a monitor. I've been using this 32-inch OLED 4K monitor for almost a year now, and so far it's been brilliant for gaming and content creation. It has a refresh rate of 240Hz at 4K for that smooth detailed gaming experience, and it can also go up to 480Hz in 1080p for those intense fast-paced competitive games. And the colours are stunning on this OLED panel, allowing it to be usable for content creation. Another reason to like this monitor is its design, particularly the thin bezels. It just looks so clean and minimal. There is no massive logo or clunky buttons on the front and sides, which other monitors tend to have. The buttons are hidden on the back, and there is one special button located at the bottom. I'll come back to that in a minute. Back design looks fairly simple. It has a gamer vibe to it with its RGB lighting, which thankfully you can turn off if you're not into RGB. The display comes with a heavy stand, specifically the base part. It's not big and wide like those two-legged ones, which tend to take up more desk space. Overall, it's very sturdy. You can pivot the monitor smoothly, change the height, and even rotate it into portrait view. It's certainly an interesting way to play a first-person shooter, that's for sure. Apart from being able to see all the jets and choppers whizzing by above you, there isn't much benefit in this portrait view. Unless you are creating gaming content for TikTok and Reels and you really want to maximise the screen aspect ratio, this could be a good way to play games. When it comes to colours, they're vibrant and they really do pop on certain games. The Fortnite Simpsons animation looks awesome. And if you're into HDR, it's equally as impressive. The HDR certainly adds a bit of extra sauce visually in some games, making it look incredible. 4K at 240Hz, the display is really nice to game on. The details look crazy good. With a high refresh rate, I feel like I'm able to compete well on fast-paced games. Even if my FPS isn't as high, the gameplay is smooth. But if you are super competitive and want an even higher refresh rate, this display can go up to 480Hz. Although there is one caveat, you will have to game at 1080p. Gaming at 1080p on a 32-inch monitor isn't ideal, as you do notice the individual pixels. The one way to minimize this is to decrease the screen size on the monitor, which you can easily do through the menu. You can change it to 27-inch mode, which does mean you will have this thick black border. But in return, the image looks less pixelated now. And if 27 inches isn't enough, you can go down to 24 inches. Me personally, I'd happily game at 1080p on the full 32-inch display. It's not ideal, but the 480Hz refresh rate does make it feel better, although some people won't be able to tell the difference with 480Hz. But if you game long enough, you'd be able to tell it's slightly snappier. So if you are super competitive, this is a great option to have. The special button I mentioned earlier, it's called dual mode, and is tucked underneath the screen. It allows you to switch from 240Hz at 4K to 480Hz at 1080p at a push of a button. Games like Red Dead Redemption 2 work seamlessly. If I feel like reducing motion blur and decreasing input lag, I can go from 240 to 480Hz. You don't even have to go into the game settings or system settings, as you can just press this button, which is pretty cool. And you can easily go back to 240Hz at 4K by pressing the dual mode button again. But for some games like Red Dead Redemption 2, didn't work. You would have to manually go back into settings and change it back to 4K. And in some games, the dual mode button doesn't work at all. When you're in game and you press dual mode button, the screen becomes glitchy. Instead, you will have to press the dual mode button when you're at the desktop, then load the game for it to work. Me personally, I prefer gaming in 4K, as I like everything sharp, and I find 240Hz to be good enough. Out of the box, I found the colours to be accurate enough for content creation, editing photos and thumbnails in Photoshop, and more importantly for me, video editing in DaVinci Resolve whilst colour grading. I did use my old MacBook Pro as reference for colour. Comparing them side by side, the LG monitor does look slightly warmer, but overall the colours look similar. I could switch profiles for maybe a cooler look to try and match the MacBook display, but for content creation, colours have been great. But if you do need it for more professional work, you'd probably want to colour calibrate it for colour accuracy. So whether you're a competitive gamer or 4K enthusiast gamer, this monitor has the best of both worlds. And if you need it for content creation, it's a beautiful monitor to work on. There is also a white version of this monitor too. I'll link both in the video description below. Thanks for watching.